Watch this speed paint as a story I wrote back in middle school is read to you. Francis, how long have you been sitting there for versus days? She sweetly smiled, peering her head out from a corner. What's taking so long? Why can't time go any faster, Mavane? I'm bored of waiting. Francis slightly sat up, with a distasteful expression. 111,374 11,123 Well, you need to be patient, Francis. Lunchtime will come soon enough, but it's boring waiting. Why should I be patient? Francis, patience is helpful. You should learn to have some, sometimes. But if you're really impatient, why don't you come help me harvest some potatoes? Alright, fine. Hold on. I'll get ready before 15,111,319 1,813,152,618 Mevin peered her head out and took notice of Francis with his head down. He seated down beside the window that viewed the front porch. She could tell Francis had been endlessly excited for the visit from his cousins, due to him constantly talking about the event. Since the day of the lunch came, Francis had assigned himself to watch out for their guests the entire day. 37,411,381,315 Nobody had come yet, as it was around 11:25. Francis was still seated by the window by his own accord. Mevin had come by occasionally, stopping her daily errands and chores to check up on him. She never enjoyed when Francis puts himself through unnecessary trials problems. It just seemed like he was always trying to continuously entertain himself, yet failing so. She decided in the end to ask him for help. She didn't need it, but it's given Francis something to do. Rather than the endless torture of waiting for their guests, she headed out back to where her garden of different vegetables, fruits, and plants, varieties in sizes, shapes, colors, and tastes. She waited for Francis, hoping that he wouldn't take too long, or back out. 37,411,381,315 Eventually, she noticed Francis coming from the back of the house, dressed in gardening pants and boots, along with his gardening gloves. 802,385 Francis opened the door to reveal his cousin, nameless child, Waldo, and Chloe. They greeted one another as Mevin finished setting the table. Anything new with you, Francis? She asked Francis, who was busy consuming his soup. Not much really, he answered blankly, bored with the recent events of the week. Well, what about you, Mavane? Anything new with you, dear? She turned to face her. Well, I've just got done harvesting the rest of my crops for this season. That sounds wonderful. 151,113 Yeah. I'm going by Rat Boy Genius's house later to drop off some potatoes. I'll go grab it. Francis disappeared into the kitchen, while everyone at the table continued their conversations. Before a can of alphabet soup rolled from the kitchen, Francis, one of them seated at the table, asked, after seeing the lonely can of alphabet soup, Francis, you dropped a can. It's out here still. The silence continued, confusing and worrying the guests even more. Francis, the silence was already enough to have her check up on him. But before anything could be done, the can laying on the floor exploded, causing it to release smoke which blinded everyone for a bit. After the 523,101,713 cleared, Francis hurried back in, confused as the rest of them. What happened while I was gone? I'm not sure. Did you see it too? Yeah. Wait, where's Crepe? Cripe, my corgi. Where is he? Whoa. Francis, calm down. I'm sure he's somewhere around here. The smoke probably just scared him off with that. They all headed to search for his corgi around the house. The group came to a close in their search when nothing had come up about Crepe's location. Worried Francis more. What if we'll never find him? Francis, it's okay. We'll find him somehow. They comforted him before something caught his attention on the table. Francis stood from his spot. 32220 picked a spoon up, swirling around in a bowl of alphabet soup until it made a message. IHAVECREPE acute. I have crepe. Who has crepe? I don't know. That's just what it says. Well, does it say anything else? Francis, all it says now is look for the potato canisius. What's that supposed to mean? I think they want us to go to Rat Boy Genius 52614141063151226. But don't you guys have that big ceremony in a little while? Well, yeah. Your aunts want us there for it. That's all right. Francis, we can head there ourselves. Together, Nameless shouted in excitement. He hadn't gone on a journey in so long. With it decided, Mavane, Waldo, and Chloe wished them off telling the two to have fun and not to get into too much trouble. 5:16 3:18 13 20 The two agreed and headed off. The two headed to the potato Kanish's factory was. To their surprise, Rat Boy Genius wasn't there currently, so they were out of luck of trying to use him for some help. The two explored the factory a bit, walking down hundreds of oddly colored corridors. They came across something that caught their eyes. 1115 alphabet soup. Nameless eyes lit up upon noticing the familiar food, attempting to pick it up. 11 10 23 13 Don't Nameless. It's a messenger can. Francis held his hand in front of his cousin, protecting Nameless from the exploding soup can. 8:26 18 22 5 A messenger can? Nameless asked, confused. 7 17 13 Yes. Back when I was a spy. Wait, you used to be a spy. 1115 Yay. Back when I was free. Now we need to be careful with these types of bombs. It's also a bomb. Yeah. I used to work with these types of bombs all the time. I mean, it's what my academy used at the time. Then why weren't you able to identify the 517 122 can back at the house? Because I never saw it. 37,411,381,315 5 10 26 4 1 5 4 10 1 5 10 22 13 2016 13 4 4 13 12 3 5 15 3 17 13 22 8 19 15 11 13 23 The end. 15 11 13 19 5 13 3 7 13 20 26 5 1 22 8 18 10 17 13 22 2 13 5 5 13 7 5